You and I have talked about, I still think it's crypto spring. We're not yet in summer, but you're just getting the later stages of spring where you start to have a few nice days in a row and it starts to feel good and you start to think about, having drinks outside in the pub and doing things in the sun. So that's where that point usually really doesn't get going. This is usually the prequel. Usually doesn't get going till summer of next year, which is that kind of halving year. That's when it goes like this almost every day for 18 months.
Exactly. So I wanted to show
nice for once to come in and go, oh my God, is that up that much,
Renowned macroeconomic expert Raoul Pal paints a compelling narrative, dubbing the current market phase as a crypto spring and foresees the true surge of a crypto summer not fully materializing until the middle of 2024. In a recent interview, Pal dissects the intricacies of this forecast, shedding light on why he believes the closing months of the year will exhibit strength and resilience. Pal asserts a specific stance on investment strategy, emphasizing that the only assets worth holding in this landscape are Bitcoin and various cryptocurrencies. Delving deeper into his portfolio, Pal identifies Ethereum and Solana as his primary bets to outperform the market. His rationale hinges on the anticipation that, come January 2024, with the potential approval of the Bitcoin ETF, a substantial shift in the investment narrative will transpire. According to Pal, this shift is poised to trigger a significant influx of investors into Ethereum and Solana. To gain a comprehensive understanding of Pal's perspectives, viewers are encouraged to stay engaged until the video's conclusion. In this segment, Pal intricately breaks down the macroeconomic climate, highlighting the imminent return of liquidity to markets. He contends that this resurgence in liquidity will act as a catalyst, propelling crypto prices to new heights. In a landscape that's ever-evolving, Pal's insights serve as a guide, providing valuable perspectives on the current state and potential future trajectory of the cryptocurrency market.
We're at the stage where we're just kind of breaking out, then we're likely to finish the year strong and then sideways for a while, sideways to down for a bit before it really gets going. So it's somewhere between the 2019 and the 2015-16. It seems that there was some story that BlackRock had already bought some, buffer so they can sell ETF when it comes out. But I don't think that's a lot, but there's clearly new capital come into the space. We saw it with CoinShares, a few others starting to report inflows of capital. So that's new money going into the economy, and obviously a bunch of bored degens turn it into a lot of price rises. But then we had the other story that ignited. So Bitcoin had been strong anyway because of the ETF. ETH has been it was okay, but it's been pretty sideways for a while. The thing that really started igniting was both DeFi stuff. They came out of nowhere, really rallying, and that's often early season stuff. And the other was obviously Solana. I haven't held much Bitcoin for a while because I look at this in terms of network effects, and my view is that more things are being built on Ethereum. It's a richer, deeper network, more use cases, and over time I think the value of the Ethereum network will be more valuable than the Bitcoin network unless something changes. Now ordinals and stuff like that, maybe, let's see. And so it's just from that thesis alone that I haven't held much Bitcoin. I've just thought it'll underperform. Now it always outperforms in crypto spring. The least risk asset in that space always outperforms at first. Then what happens as spring turns into summer, you start getting outperformance of alts, and particularly the large alts first and then the smaller alts later. So there's nothing unusual about what's going on. Also very interesting to see the chart of Sol, ETH, Bitcoin, kind of long-term weekly chart. It's been a very interesting, that to me is an incredibly interesting chart because I actually draw the wedge coming up from 2017 low to the 2020 lows.
Hold on, I think this is your chart, right?
No, it's not that one. This is the bigger one than that. So go back to your chart. Okay, just draw a trend line from the 2017 low.
2017 low. So you want it from there?
Yeah.
Okay, let's draw that trend line over there.
This is what I'm really interested in.
Holy shit.
This is right. This is a fucking massive wedge pattern. Now, I put it on a log chart, on a log scale.
Let me quickly put it onto a log.
It is on log.
It is on log. So, this is a big level for ETH.
Yeah, and we're putting in the stuff that I look at, DeMark indicators, everything else. They're suggesting the low comes this week, next week, the week after. So I'm thinking that the narrative around ETH is going to be wrong. It's going to catch people offside. People have basically, because there's been no new money in the space, so they've sold their ETH to buy Bitcoin.
Okay.
Because of the ETF, right? And this point in the cycle. Makes sense, fine. Then what happens is the ETF is announced. What is everybody going to do after the Bitcoin ETF is announced?
Buy ETH. They're going to buy ETH because the SEC can't actually decline an ETH ETF because they've approved an ETH futures ETF. And if they did, that would be capricious. And what's the other word, the fancy word that the judge used? It would be capricious if they did that, right?
Exactly. So every trader is going to switch their bet from Bitcoin to ETH. And that changes the dynamic. Now, ETH has been kind of, as I said, struggling around a bit. But once it clears 1900, it gets really interesting. I think I put out a chart yesterday on the ETH chart on my Twitter feed.
And you said it's a gorgeous chart. Is this the one?
Yeah.
Tell me why it's such a gorgeous chart. I mean, you tweeted and you said this is a gorgeous chart.
So what we've got is, it's an Elliott wave chart, and it's a beautiful technical pattern of this lovely kind of flag. So Elliott wave, you tend to get 5 wave advances, ABC declines in a bull market. So you had this wave up 1, it retraces all the way back down, doesn't make a new low, that's a wave 2. Then you start on what is a wave 3. Wave 3s are the big dynamic waves. But within that, it breaks down to subwaves. So this was wave 1, wave 2 was the correction. And now if you break that, you go into what's known, the most exciting thing of Elliott wave is a 3 of 3. That's where you get the double acceleration point. What we've just seen in Solana feels like it's going to happen in ETH. Particularly now everybody's underweight ETH. People have seen the Solana move. Let's say the Bitcoin ETF comes. You break that trend line, which is about 1900, and before you know it, you're on your way to 2,500 and beyond. ETH should do really well, and then there'll be a lag before the real altcoin cycle starts. But that's coming soon as well. Even the wedge of altcoin market cap on TradingView is breaking out of a perfect wedge. So if you go back to 2008, everybody got the get out of jail free card of 0 interest rates. So nobody had to pay interest on their debt. That was like a gift, right? 0 interest rates. Every government refunded at 0, but for some weird reason, they did it between 3 and 5 years. That 3 and 5 year debt cycle just keeps rolling over. It's exactly the Bitcoin halving cycle. It's exactly the economic cycle. It's exactly the US election cycle. They're all the same thing. It's this super cycle, this everything code. And we're into that point of the cycle now where the balance sheet should start rising, cover the debts from the previous, right? So this is the idea that, okay, global M2 is now positive. And I've always said the moment liquidity goes above 0 in its rate of change, then it's like taking the foot off a beach ball underwater. It kind of explodes higher because these assets want to trend higher. So first up,
why is M2 growing if the US is absorbing, if the US is taking M2 out of the economy, right? Or am I reading this wrong?
Yeah, because Japan, China, there's other people involved in the M2 calculation, right? This is global M2. So what's happened is global M2 is rising and it will continue to rise. We do have a lot of forward-looking work at GMI. That's what got us very bullish and adding to all of our crypto bets back at the end of last year. It's because liquidity had started to rise. We're like, okay, this is interesting. So if we go down to the next chart,
there it is.
This is Bitcoin outperforming the NASDAQ versus global M2, right? So at this point, I call this the supermassive black hole. You don't want to own anything except crypto at this point in the cycle because it starts outperforming everything. So that becomes always interesting. Let's go on to the next.
Okay, I'll take us to the next one. There we go.
Okay, I'm giving you my whole hot chart left.
Oh, great. I love this. This is great. And I'm sure everybody else is enjoying it.
So this is the weekly global liquidity index, which is 5 of the world's largest central banks, global net liquidity. And what we're seeing is it's not quite at 0 yet. Right? This is the big daddy of indicators. This is the thing that we get when we put just the outright weekly liquidity index. We get a 97.5% correlation with the NASDAQ and 87% with Bitcoin. So this is the big daddy. It's not quite there, but it's almost at 0. And once it starts getting to 0, we kind of get into what we refer to as the banana zone, when all assets go bananas. Okay, next.
Well, I mean, it's pretty close to 0. I mean, it's like
very close. And the next one will show you why. So yeah, this is the one including the private sector. That's now positive.
Okay.
And then Fed net liquidity, that's just the US. That's positive too.
Okay.
And all of the forward-looking stuff suggests, that's the other one, is if that trend line continues to break, banks are up strongly today because the yields have gone down again. If the banks break, then we know they're just going to hit the accelerator button to all of this stimulus.
Okay, what is this BKX index? What is it actually showing and what is this breakdown showing?
This is the banking index in the US. This is the main banks. So that's the uptrend since the 2008 crisis, big banking crisis. and it's breaking that uptrend. So it's like, okay, the banks are broken here. Now, this is a long-term chart. This could take years to play out, or it could happen overnight. You just don't know. I mean, look how fast it happened in 2007-8. But this is the Larry Fink thing, right? Something is broken, and you need a safe haven. And I lived through exactly this in Europe in 2012, when we almost lost all of our banking system. And Cyprus, everyone had their money taken out of their accounts. That's when I discovered Bitcoin, because I realized you needed to have a way of holding assets outside that wasn't gold, which is not the easiest asset to move around.
At the forefront of the crypto landscape, Raoul Pal shares his insights, pinpointing the current phase as the crypto spring during a captivating discussion. Pal's strategic outlook extends beyond the present, setting the stage for what he envisions as a dynamic crypto summer in 2024. With an engaging narrative, Pal directs attention to Ethereum and Solana as the primary frontrunners in his carefully curated portfolio. This strategic positioning aligns with his foresight that the anticipated approval of the Bitcoin ETF will act as a pivotal catalyst, potentially reshaping investor sentiment and catalyzing an assertive bull run for these chosen assets. Delving deeper into Pal's rationale, the emphasis on Ethereum and Solana gains significance as he articulates the expected transformative impact of the Bitcoin ETF's approval. Pal envisages a palpable shift in investor sentiment, catalyzed by this regulatory milestone. This, in turn, could herald an aggressive bull run, propelling the value of Ethereum and Solana to new heights. Pal's narrative not only navigates the current crypto landscape but also underscores the interconnectedness of regulatory developments and market dynamics, offering viewers a nuanced perspective on the evolving crypto market. As viewers absorb Pal's insights, they are prompted to contemplate the broader implications of his predictions. The anticipation of a crypto summer, fueled by the expected Bitcoin ETF approval, underscores the interconnected nature of various cryptocurrencies. Pal's emphasis on Ethereum and Solana prompts investors to scrutinize not only the potential of individual assets, but also the broader market dynamics that could shape the trajectory of their investments. Pal's discourse serves as a thought-provoking exploration of the intricacies within the crypto space, inviting viewers to critically assess the evolving landscape and its implications for strategic investment decisions. For more Daily Dose Crypto news, check out these 2 awesome videos on your screen. Click now and we will see you on the next video.